This could be it for the series. Can the Orange and Blue take advantage at home to wrap things up tonight? We get you set for Game 5 between the Oilers and the Kings right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the pregame show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola live on location, Hudson's Bourbon Street at West Edmonton Mall. And people are filing in, getting ready for this one as the Oilers have the Kings on the ropes. YouTube Trev. He is fighting fit and good to go back at EST HQ. And YouTube, Trev, hello. How are you? Do you have a voice?
What's up, Tommy? How's it going, Nasty?
What's
How
up?
are we doing?
There he is. Oh,
yes.
hey, there he is.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's about damn time. Oh my gosh, yeah, we're finally good. Everything's going great. I missed it. I missed it so much. I tuned into every single pregame and postgame, and I was like, man, I want to say something. I have so much to say. But I just, it was a real tough week. So huge shout out to, everyone that pulled their punches. Zach to come, he had to do a few pre-games and post-games. Same with Maddie. The boys at EST, they helped me out, and I really, really appreciate that. But Nasties, what's up? The Oilers, the LA Kings on the brink of elimination. Can it happen tonight? Holy crap! I don't know.
Wow, this
is insane. I'm very impressed with how the Oilers have been able to play, man. It's been awesome. I've really enjoyed what's all transpired thus far. So time will only tell in 2 hours here. Let's go. I'm so pumped.
Teamwork makes the dream work right here at EST. That's for sure. By the way, GCL Diesel, proud sponsors of the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show, Edmonton's diesel fuel system specialists and providers of critical engine components for over 50 years. As always, join the conversation. Hit us up on the text line, 780-218-9999, or, of course, on the nasty chat if you're watching on YouTube. As we like to ask, hit the thumbs up on your way in. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Tell your friends, as Dusty likes to say. Tell the friends, and people are catching on at what we're doing here at EST. So YouTube, Trev, back in the fold, healthy, fighting fit, all that good stuff. The Oilers with that extra day of rest and a day of practice as well. Hopefully they are fighting fit and good to go. And we'll see if they can eliminate the LA Kings tonight. Game number 5, Edmonton with the 1-0 win on Sunday in LA. Man, that was a fun pre- and post game at Hudson's on White Avenue. I think we're going to be there for our next game, TBD, as we bounce between the two Hudson's locations. I will throw out the question of the night. Text us, 780-218-9999. Then, of course, nasty chat, do your thing. Question of the night, do you expect another low-scoring tight game or a high-scoring open game tonight? You tell me. I'll read those out as we cruise along. All the nasties, get in on that, please, and thank you. Speaking of the nasties, I saw Naughty Possum on my way in to West Edmonton Mall. He was here dropping off his daughter, and then Fergie is here, as well as Jay. Andrea is getting Alish Hemsky's autograph, and then coming down to Hudson's as well. Dusty's going to be here. I believe Awanik's on his way, so we should have a good crew for the game. Lieutenant Eric, already one beer deep. He is going to have himself a little time because this has become his neighborhood pub. All right, question of the night one more time. Do you expect another low-scoring tight game or a high-scoring open game? Let me know your thoughts. 780-218-9999. We do have Dennis Bernstein coming up in about 10 minutes. Cass will be by just after 7. We'll go inside both locker rooms. We'll get you up to speed on lineups. Nothing really earth-shattering, that's for sure, when it comes to the rosters as well as the goaltenders. But we'll get you up to date on those, as we tend to do around these parts. And we will keep you up to date as well on what's going on in the NHL. The Golden Knights and the Stars tied at 2 right now. That game, I know it started a little bit earlier. I was watching it a bit. 2-2 start of the second period between Vegas and Dallas. That series, that could go all the way. And if you didn't catch it yesterday, the Canucks and the Preds will continue on. So that game goes Friday, which is crazy. So, yeah, if you're wondering when round 2 would start, if the Oilers do eliminate the LA Kings tonight, we would have to wait probably till maybe next week, probably Monday or Tuesday. But there's some work to be done by the Oilers. All right, Trev, you get the first crack at the question of the night. Do you expect another low-scoring tight game or a high-scoring open game tonight? 780-218-9999 and the Nasty Chat. Let me know your thoughts. I want to read those as we go through the night. Trev, what do you think?
Yeah, Tommy, it's a good question. I will say I'd be very surprised if this is like as low. Like I don't think it's going to be as low scoring. It's not going to be 1-0. Like I think there's going to be more goals than that tonight. But in saying that, I think it is going to be like a 3-2, kind of like 4-3. So maybe not the most goals scored. But I mean, every time the Oilers like you give them one goal, like it's hard to do that 2 games in a row. And the Oilers shut out the Los Angeles Kings. It's hard to do that again. So there's going to be more goals tonight. But in saying that, it's going to be a 1-goal game. But like I'm expecting like Conor McDavid to go supernova tonight, kind of like Game 7 back in 2021 against the Kings. Like I'm expecting a huge night from 97. It's going to be fun to see. He's going to have a hell of a night. So I'm expecting a little bit higher scoring, but nothing crazy. Like it's going to be a close game, maybe 3-2, 4-3, something like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Like I think we're going to see more goals. I don't think it's going to be as tight as that game that we saw on Sunday in LA, but I could see it being like a 4-2 with an empty netter type of thing. I'm curious to see if the Oilers can harness the energy from the building and take advantage of that. You know what I mean? Capitalize on it, because I think if they come out with a strong first 10 minutes, dictate the pace. They were talking about that in the locker room today. They really want to dictate the pace. They also brought up the fact that, yes, the fourth game is the hardest one to win. They've experienced it, obviously, a few times in the last couple of years. And LA wants to get the season going. So, but I don't think it's going to be a 0-0 game going into the third period. I think we're in for a few goals and the light getting lit up a few times. So I'm excited to see what happens. I want to see if Edmonton can get to David Rittich and if they could, get more than 13 or 14 shots on him. And if they do, I think they have a good chance of scoring. I mean, he did improve his playoff numbers by only allowing the 1 goal. You had horrendous numbers in his 3 or 2 playoff appearances prior to that one. But yeah, I think this one we're going to see a little bit more in terms of goal scoring and maybe a little bit more open, but still a close game, but not as tight of a game. So let me know your thoughts. 780-218-9999. Is this going to be a low-scoring, close game, or is it going to be a wide-open barn burner like old-time hockey? Let's go to the Nasty Chat. I see some text coming in already. AJ says special teams, special players. Emma Terry says, I worry about the Oilers' chances tonight. Elimination. Jimbo saying, looking forward to the Oil closing it out tonight. DBZ gang says, need to come out of the gates hitting and skating. I'm with you, because LA was the more physical team. They took it to the Oilers physically in Game 4. And I think Edmonton generally is a bit more physical team than the LA Kings, but it was the Kings asserting their will with the physical play over the Oilers. So we'll see if Edmonton can turn that tide. If they do, I think that bodes well for them. And then maybe that does lead to some opportunities offensively and maybe gets the Kings defense on their toes, forcing them to make some mistakes, and maybe Edmonton capitalizes. We'll see if that happens. Jimbo says barn burner. Some stranger says low scoring. Rip City Step predicts a 5-2 final. Brett says 4-2 Edmonton. And Ace 96 says if Gagné was playing, he'd get 10 points. Safety Bob says Edmonton 5-2 Kane with the empty netter. Big Ute Nathan says game day, baby. Got a cold 6 o'clocker in hand and am ready for some King elimination. LFG, folks. Absolutely. Thank you, Big Ute. Good to hear from you. Speaking of which, Birdie Juice. Trev, hop on here really quickly. Birdie Juice. We saw the label that was chosen for Birdie Juice. And if you're wondering what that is, tell our wonderful audience what Birdie Juice is in conjunction and collaboration with Strathcona Spirits.
Oh yeah, you throw this on me. Yeah, so it's a nice.
I'm thirsty.
It's a nice alcoholic beverage that is that we partnered with Strathcona Spirits, and we partnered. We had our viewers, our listeners. We put out a label that anyone could design, and today was the day that we announced the winner of said label. And there was a lot of really really good options. Yeah, shout out to everyone that participated in that. But yeah, like we had a little over 2 weeks now. I forget. Oh man, I'm terrible with names. But representative come in, and we got a Schmitty. We got a taste test of the Birdie juice, and man, like the 6 o'clocker lager is great. It's unbelievable. But like this is this is. Oh, it's so good. We had 3 versions. We all tested them. We shared our thoughts, and we ultimately decided on the one that you guys will be definitely trying in the summer. It was phenomenal. It was it's a great flavor, very unique. I've never tasted anything like that, but it's smooth.
Hascap is the berry.
Yeah, Hascap berry. So it's super smooth. Yep. Like I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's gonna go down plenty nice when you're drinking a 6 o'clocker lager on the golf course. And then, and then you need a little shooter. You can quickly have some EST Birdie juice. So it's awesome. Great partnership that we have. It's really, really cool and something it's fun to be a part of. So you guys definitely will have to. And we do have, I think, Dusty gave. I think it's next Saturday. Dusty will talk about it on the morning show, but we're doing a launch party for this, obviously, as well. So be sure to stay tuned for the dates that Dusty will be announcing because, it's going to be fun. You are definitely going to want to try this. It's very unique. I've never tasted anything like it, but, it's so good. I can't get over how good it is.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's a 20% liqueur. It'll be available at Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores. And it should be coming out soon. I think next month it'll be available. The launch party is on the 11th. I'll let Dusty unveil the details for that, but it's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Man, we're already into May, and so it's going to be awesome. Hascap is the berry. We did try a couple of samples, and we picked the batch that we like. Schmitty, big shout out to Brian Schmidt over at Strathcona Spirits, everyone over there, the local distillery, and we're excited to launch this. So it's an easy drink, an easy shot, and we're really looking forward to seeing how this does. And then you're right, it complements the 6 o'clocker lager quite well. You're giving it one of these, Paisan. All right, very nice. So there you go, the EST Birdie juice in conjunction with Strathcona Spirits coming out very, very soon. The label has been released, a winner has been chosen, and it looks fantastic. All right. 780-218-9999. Do you expect another low-scoring tight game or a high-scoring open game tonight? Text us or get in the nasty chat. Andy Pandy says 5-3 Oil with an empty net. Kane first goal, 97 gets the game winner. That one from Andy Pandy. Let's see if we got anything else. The loser says, if the Birdie juice is half as good as a 6 o'clocker lager, then I will be buying at least a dozen. Old School Nasty says, my liver isn't an EST fan, LOL, but I sure am. Oh, it's 20%, and it's nice and easy on your tongue. It's delicious. Delicious Birdie juice as we get set for summer and patio season. And, obviously it's not that great right now, but the weather will turn. Good that we're getting the moisture. Think of the farmers, think of the fires. We get that moisture, get the grass all green. And there's nothing that says spring like playoff hockey, a little bit of moisture. All right, let's go into lineups and starting netminders, and then Dennis Bernstein will be stopping by in a minute or two. For the Oilers, don't expect any changes tonight. Optional morning skate. McDavid between Henrique and Hyman. Draisaitl centering Nugent-Hopkins and Kane. McLeod between Holloway and Perry. Derek Ryan with Warren Fogle and Matias Janmark on defense. Eholm with Bouchard, Nurse with CC, Kulak with Desharnais. As for the LA Kings, they weren't revealing too much, but it is anticipated that they roll with the same group as Game 4, where they did play pretty darn good. Andre Kopitar between Quentin Byfield and Adrian Kempe. Philip Deneau with Trevor Moore and Victor Arvidsson. Blake Lizotte between Kevin Fiala and Trevor Lewis. Pierre-Luc Dubois with Carl Grundstrom and Alex Laferriere. On defense for the Kings, Mikey Anderson with Drew Doughty, Vladislav Gavrikov with Matt Roy, Andreas Englund with Jordan Spence. Between the pipes tonight, 25-year-old Stuart Skinner, 3-1 this postseason, 248 goals against average, 919 save percentage, 1 shutout in 4 games. Lifetime, Skinner 8-7 in the postseason, 335 GAA, 893 save percentage with the shutout in 16 playoff games. And then at the other end of the rink, Big Save Dave, as they like to say. 31-year-old David Riddick, 0-1 this postseason, 102 GAA, 923 save percentage. And then lifetime in the playoffs, 598 goals against average, 743 save percentage in 3 career playoff appearances. So there you go. There's your anticipated starting lineups and your starting netminders for Game 5 between the Oilers and the Kings. Just after 8 o'clock will be the puck drop down at Ice District. All right, portions of this hour brought to you by 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Catch Dusty Nielsen with Uke and McCord weekday mornings, and then tune into Jess Jackson on your way home from work every afternoon. I had the good fortune of hanging out with Jess on her show today, and she is a treat. So check her show out. Listen to some great tunes over at 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Okay, let's go down to Rogers Place. There's our boy DB, looking snazzy as always. Hello, Dennis. What's going on? That's a new coat that we're looking at. Where'd you pull that one out of?
I actually was in Paris for my birthday, and my wife dragged me into Hugo Boss.
PJ.
Yeah, and I said to the guy, you got any long jackets? He goes, I got just a jacket for you.
Of course.
Guy goes in the back and says, this was highlighted at Fashion Week in Paris. I'm like, put it in the bag. Let's go. So now I'm renowned for my jackets. So, but happy to talk to you in an elimination Game 5 tonight, Tom.
Yes, DB. I'm going to start with the question of the night. I put it out to our audience, and people have been chiming in on it. So, DB, do you expect another low-scoring tight game or a high-scoring open game tonight?
No, because here's the difference in this Oilers team this year. They're comfortable playing a 1-0 game. Like they would have never won that game in previous seasons, 1-0. Never.
Fair
so
point.
I think they're going to go that route. Now, the Kings going to go into the box, and the great thing about LA, they only took 1 penalty, and of course, the Oilers scored on it. I think more of the same, because the Kings, if they're that desperate, they have to play that game, Tom. They have to be more physical. They have to be more aggressive on the forecheck. They have to limit time and space in the offensive team. All the keys that we've talked about all 5 games, they executed great. The only thing they didn't do is get the puck past Skinner. So I got to think that if they have any chance of taking this back to Los Angeles, it has to be more a 1-0, 2-1 game than the 7-4, 6-2 games that we saw previously, or 6-1 games that we saw previously.
Yeah, Dennis Bernstein joining us now from the 4th period, our LA Kings insider, of course. DB, that game that we saw in Game 4 in LA, like, is that more of an LA Kings game? Is that their MO? Are they that style of team? They like those low-scoring games, or was that kind of something a little bit out of their element, the way they handled that game?
I think that game was much more a representation of how they play and what they play than the 5-4 game. Like, if you told me in this series the Kings would win the 5-4 game in Edmonton, I'd go, nah, I don't think so. That's the game they have to play. And now they realize it. They go, wow, we only gave up 13 shots on goal. Like, if we can replicate that effort, now it's going to be different. The arena's going to be different. The first 5 minutes is going to be different. But they have to win a game, a low-scoring game. You know, so if you're betting, you would want – and you think the Kings might have a shot, you'd play the undertotal on the goals. But, yeah, 5-4 games, they're not going to win. Like, that was the one game they won 5-4. They know their identity. It's playing that 1-3-1. It's being responsible defensively. Again, a high-scoring game is certainly going to favor the Oilers tonight if that's the way it goes.
There was only 2 penalties called in that game. Both of those calls, if you really look at them, they're bad calls. Like, they were weak, they're soft, whatever. But both teams got an opportunity on the power play. Edmonton converts, like you said. LA is not able to, with, I think, 9 minutes left in the 3rd period there. Yep. Do you think that we're going to see the refs put the whistles away again, or do you think we're actually going to see a few power plays at both sides?
I think more than 1-1, Tom. Do I think it's going to be a parade to the penalty box? Only the game gets out of hand either way. Mm-hmm. But I think maybe 2 or 3 calls for each team. But I don't know. 3 calls against the Kings, and I might wind up with 2 power play goals, and it's going to probably be the difference in the game. So I think that they'll let them play, and I agree with you. There were 2 bad calls. I asked Jim Hiller off the record what he thought about that call. I can't repeat it on air. So, yeah, and it was tough on both teams. But, again, look, the Oilers, they're just so smart with respect to their power play. Like they switched it around a little bit. So with respect to Bouchard getting open, making the extra pass, and having that shot that beat Ritter. So I think the Kings will be comfortable taking maybe 3 penalties. But if it's more than that, the way the series is going, you know what's going to happen, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, Edmonton's power play 53% so far, 8 for 15. Yeah, and the surprise to me, DB, is Edmonton's PK is perfect, and I would not have predicted that. What can LA do to A, try to get a power play goal, and B, try to prevent Edmonton's power play from converting? Is it unstoppable, quote unquote, or is there a key that you're noticing, or are there any little wrinkles you're seeing from the Oilers that maybe the Kings could hone in on?
No, look, the Oilers can thread needles. Like they make plays. It's as simple as that, Tom. They make plays. They make plays that other teams can't. With respect to the Kings' power play, it's really simple. It's cliche. Go to the net, get slot shots. And the great thing about the Oilers in that penalty kill, here's the difference between the LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. One of the structural differences. Edmonton has big defensemen. Vinny Desharnais played great the other night. Right? They have big guys back there that can block shots like Nurse and Desharnais, and Eholm. That's the difference. The Kings don't have a very big defense. So it makes it harder, like when they get time and space to block shots. Now, Matt Roy's the best shot blocker. Matt's 6 foot tall, maybe 210. Like they don't have that strength and that size on that back line that when you make mistakes, like, a guy can get in front of a shot. Now, a lot of it's commitment. I get it. I understand it. But it's, again, the size factor that's been the case in the other 2 playoff rounds is coming to fore again. So, yeah. Kings have to go to the net, try to get some rebounds, have Dubois and Byfield, the 2 bigger players, try to get to the net. But, with all the shots they got in that game 4, Tom, the slot shots was 7-6 in favor of LA. So the disparity in the shots, it's a lot of perimeter shots. And when you got big guys in front of the net, you can block shots. And that's why the Kings wound up getting shut out. They couldn't get to the net for those high danger chances that when you think it's 33-14, you think there's a lot of high danger chances in the Kings' favor. It really wasn't the case.
Dennis Bernstein joining us from Rogers Place as we get you set for Game 5 between the Oilers and the Kings. Tom Gazzola live on location, Hudson's West Edmonton Mall, Bourbon Street location. Come on down. I've got some GCs, and the boys will be here. Lieutenant Eric's already posted up at his spot. It's going to be a fun one here at Hudson's. All right, DB, one of the things that surprised me a little bit was despite, like you talked about the size disparity between the Oilers and the Kings, especially on the back end, LA was super physical. They took the game physically to the Oilers. Was that something that they are capable of replicating again? And how much of a factor could that be in this game?
Are they capable? Yes. Will they step over the line and draw dumb penalties? I don't know. That's the one thing. When you're playing in an away arena, sometimes there's influences on the referees and stuff. So can they do that? Yeah, they can do that. They got to be more aggressive, Tom. Look, whatever happens in the series, they got to scrap the 1-3-1, right? When you're a more talented team, look, let's go with the history of the 1-3-1. When Todd McClellan got here, the team stunk. They had no talent, nothing. How do you try to become competitive? By putting a system on 1-3-1 that plays great defense, and you rely on that. But now when you get more talented players in the system, it's not working anymore. It's certainly not working against the Edmonton Oilers. So whoever the coach is, if by some great stroke of luck the Kings can rally and win this series, or if it's another coach, you got to scrap this system. It doesn't work for talented players. I think that's part of the challenge with a guy like Fiala and a guy like Dubois in this series. So I'm not surprised they had to get more physical. I think that and they should have been. Look, here's the thing, Tom. If the Kings played Game 4 in Game 1, at worst they'd be 2-2 and maybe up in the series. But they waited to Game 4 to really play their game. Now Edmonton didn't allow them to, so that's it. So I think they'll try the same thing. But again, if they step over the line and take, a questionable boarding call or a roughing call, it's not going to work in their favor. So they have to be really, really careful if they're going to play a more physical game to walk the line and not draw penalties.
I was going to ask you this, who needs to step up to help salvage this season? I know that, Kempe has been good. Kopitar had a big night in Game 2. We've seen Dowy have an effect. He's been really good all series. But I'm looking at Trevor Moore at DB. He's one of my favorite players to watch from different teams. And I haven't noticed him all that much making a big impact positively for the Kings. Another guy I think of is Arvidsson. Who are guys that you think need to step up tonight to help save the season for LA?
Well, let's discount Dubois because I'm just, when you look at his numbers, Tom, it's not good. 5-on-5. Yeah. He's been the lowest ranked 5-on-5 player. So it's the middle six guys. You mentioned Trevor Moore, who scored a big overtime goal last year in the playoff series, right? It's the middle six guys. It's the guys you mentioned. It's Arvidsson, it's Moore, and it's got to be Kevin Fiala. He has to get a goal tonight. If they go to the power play, I mean, he needs to get in the slot and fire that shot. I know he's a facilitator, but he's got to concentrate on goal scoring. So those three guys would have to come through as the middle six guys, because you know what you're going to get from Byfield and Kopitar and Kempe. They're going to show up. They're going to play well. It's those middle six guys that have to show. And more than show, Tom, it's go time. They have to produce. They have to come through with respect to their scoring standpoint. If they don't, it's going to be a short series, and the Kings are going to go home and plan summer vacations if they don't do that.
Yikes. Dennis Bernstein joining us now, our Kings insider from the fourth period. It's David Rittich, it looks like, between the pipes again tonight. Listen, you mentioned the 13 shots that he faced. He doesn't have a particularly glowing playoff record in minimal games played. This will be his fourth playoff game played, DB. But is it the right move to go back to Big Save Dave?
Yeah, it is, because I've said this before game one, Tom. They're system goaltenders, Cam and Rittich. If the Kings played that game in front of Cam Talbot on game 4, it would have been the same thing. He would have given up one goal, and it would have been there's really no difference. So, but this is an elimination game. There's a lot more pressure on Rittich, and he's never faced that. And you mentioned it. Last game was the first time he's played a full playoff game in his career, right? Yeah. But again, they're relying on the system, Tom. Limit time and opportunity and chances in front of them. Either goalie's equipped to win that type of game. They didn't win that type of game in game 4, but I have no problem with the move. Because I look at these guys that basically essentially saying they're a function of the system. And when the system breaks down, like you saw in games 1 and game 3, it doesn't matter if it was Vasilevsky or Shesterkin in goal, they would have lost those games. So I have no problem with the switch. It's a field situation, and Dave had a couple of big saves among the 12 that he had, Tom. But if they could play that game, is David Rittich good enough to win that game if they play it again? Yes, he is.
All right, so DB, whether or not it's tonight or maybe game 6, game 7, whatever happens, if LA loses this series, what might happen with this team? You talk about maybe like what's going to happen with Jim Hiller. They need to get away from this 1-3-1. They need to let their skilled players, play and open things up. Could there be a management change? Because it would be a third straight year losing in the first round to the Edmonton Oilers, and it doesn't look like it's moving forward. What do you think could happen if the Kings do indeed lose this series?
All right, let's start with the coach, Tom. Jim Hill has to win the series to stay as head coach, right? And he's done a really good job. When the team was going way south and lost 14 out of 17 at the All-Star break, he came in, he reinstilled confidence, he lightened the room lightened the mood in the room. That's great. But just like Tom McClellan, he can't figure out a way to beat the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs. So that's what it's leveraged on. Management's a different story, right? Because Luke Robitaille is very close with Phil Anschutz, who's the owner of the team. And if you look at the history of the GMs in Los Angeles under Anschutz, he had McMaster for 4 years, but he inherited that guy, whacked him after 4 years. Dave Tyler was the GM for 9 years. Yep. And after that, Dean Lombardi was the GM for 11 years. It's not a reactionary management team. It's not a reactionary ownership. So they're not going to freak out over this because they did make the playoffs. The fans are in the seats. If the building was half full at Crypto.com when they think about making a management change, I think they'll resist that because Rob Blake has one more year on his deal. I think he's going to get another coach. Definitely has to get another goaltender. Like if Rob doesn't get a goaltender in the offseason, fire him before the season starts. Right, so he's going to get one more shot at this to have success in the playoffs. So it's not a reactionary ownership group. I know there's a faction of fans that want these guys gone. I just don't see it happening right now. I think they get one more year, and then that happens, fine. But there will be a coaching change, and they have to change the style. They have to be more aggressive. They have to just play a different style of hockey because there's more talent on this team, and I think that this system sometimes betrays that talent.
Yeah, well said, DB. Well said. Okay, what are we going to see tonight? What do you think?
I have a reservation for Game 7 at the JW. I might be canceling it about 10 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock tonight. I don't have a lot of here's the thing. If you're a Kings player, you got to be so frustrated over Game 4. We played exactly the game we wanted to play, and we didn't get the results. So I don't know. Tom, I'll know better in the first 5 minutes. If they're going to come out aggressive and hit and try to execute, that's fine. If they come out passive, give up the first goal, it may not be a good night. So, look, they still have a puncher's chance. Game 4 gives them hope that they can beat this team. They just have to find a better way to do it.
DB, fantastic stuff as always. I'm glad you've got that rezo for Game 7 at the JW. I will see you shortly, my friend.
Tell them what happened to the 16C weather, by the way.
Oh, it went away. We got a blast of winter. That's what happens around here. At least we got some moisture. We're looking on the bright side, DB, because we don't want any more forest fires. Those things suck in the summer. Yeah.
Springtime in Alberta, Tommy.
I know. Sorry. Hey, you look great with your coat on. I look forward to seeing you later on today, pal.
Okay, Tommy. So it was great being on the EST.
There you go. There is our Kings insider, Dennis Bernstein. Fantastic work from him. As always, coming at us from Rogers Place. And I know that our audience, especially those that remember him from the 1260 days, and certainly those who have been introduced to him here at EST, can appreciate Dennis Bernstein and what he brings every time he is on. He is an absolute legend, that man, and we absolutely love him. All right, 780-218-9999. Text us your thoughts heading into this game. Is it going to be a close game like we saw in Game 4, or are we going to see a wide-open barn burner like old-school 80s hockey? Let me know. 780-218-9999. Let's go to this one. Chris Russell was small and one of the best shot blockers in the league. Sounds like the LAD is just soft. I wonder where the Big Save Dave nickname came from. It's definitely not from his NHL career. Actually happened when he was in Calgary. He was an all-star 1 year with the Flames. I will jog everyone's memory. Ace 96 says Kings will come out hard, full contact, and spiral into despair as their dreams crash harsh in a pit of misery. Corey comes in here through the nasty chat, says Oilers will win it 4-2. What else do we have? Let's go to Box Pounder. Says, damn fine interview, Tommy. Thank you, Box Pounder. That's all Dennis Bernstein. All right. We have Cass coming up shortly, but in the meantime, I think we're going to go inside the Oilers locker room. Let's hear from Conor McDavid and get the captain's thoughts.
This is just a thought on the opportunity to close it out and not give them life or have to play extra games here.
Yeah, great opportunity here on home ice to close out the series. Obviously, you never want to give a team life. You never want to, have give them an opportunity to get themselves going again. So big game for us.
I assume you guys have gone over the last game and looked at the tape and stuff. Obviously a minus 20 shot differential. I assume you don't want again. But when you watch a game like that, do you look at, okay, look how we defended and how desperate we played, or do you look for opportunities to create more offense?
Well, I think it's both. I thought we defended really well. I thought we gave up shots, but I thought a lot of them were from the outside. Stu saw a lot of pucks. And the ones that when there was breakdowns, he was there and he was solid. So, with that being said, obviously we want to spend a little bit more time in the O-zone. Forecheck pucks a little bit better, hold on to them. Play down there, not defend so much.
Is there I don't know if pride's the right word when you shut out a team 1-0 in the playoffs, and the Oilers have only done it like 4 times in the history of the franchise, 4 or 5 times. Is that different than if you'd won 6-3 or not?
Well, in the playoffs, a win is a win. You take them any way you get them. Winning 1-0 or winning 6-3, as you said, there's really no difference. I thought LA played a really good game I thought we played a really smart, mature, patient game, and a 1-0 game was a result. So, I would like to see. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Conor, your power play is over 50% against the unit that was second best in the league this year. What are you seeing on it, and what's clicking right now for you guys on that power play?
Yeah, we got good players out there that are playing well and in sync and working for pucks back. I think that's the biggest thing for our power play. When we're working hard to get pucks back and keeping second and third pucks alive and giving our power play chance and time to be in zone. Eventually, we're going to break a penalty kill down. So, with that being said, they're a good unit over there. They're a good PK. They have been all year long, and but we've been finding ways to score goals.
I know scoring first is always important, but when you've got a team up against the ropes like this, if you can get the first one, maybe get them squeezing the stick a bit, maybe a little bit more emphasis in a game like tonight. Starts
are big. Starts are always big. We've said that, especially against LA in the series, just with how they play and stuff. So we want to come out of the gates, hot. Feed off the crowd, feed off the energy of our building, and put them on their heels in the first 10 minutes.
What would you say about your team's sort of growth in that area? Like, starts are an important part even during the regular season. How would you sort of characterize your group's ability?
Yeah, I think we've had good starts in the series and we've had not so good starts in the series. So, for the most part, it's been good. I think just only game 2 we came out a little wobbly. So, we know what to do. We know how to play. It's just about us going out and doing it and executing.
Connor, just talking about last game once more. There was no panic and there was a lot of discipline from your group. Is that a sign of the growth, the maturity that you guys have been talking about all year in this dressing room throughout the regular season? Was Sunday a perfect example of that?
I thought so. I thought, we talk about starts. I thought LA got up to a really good start in Game 4, and they were really moving. Spending time in our zone, creating, shots. With that being said, I thought we did a good job of just sticking with it, like I said, playing a mature, patient game, like you said, and just found a way to get it done. And I think that you're going to have to do that in the playoffs. You're going to have to win with your B game every now and then, and I thought that was Sunday.
What does it say about your goaltender when he owns up to his play in Game 2 and then delivers the performances he had in Game 3 and 4 and just taking full responsibility along the way?
Yeah, you talk about growth and maturity and stuff like that. I think Stu's taken from a year ago today where he's at. He's grown a lot, matured a lot as a goalie and as a person, and he's playing great. And he's when he's playing like that, we got all the faith in the world in him.
Connor, what did you learn? Sorry, my last question. What did you learn over the years about being in this situation and trying to close out an opponent? A couple of teams last night survived. It's trying to match that level of desperation, right?
For sure. You said it. Obviously, they're going to be a desperate group, but we're desperate to close out the series. Really, I think we're excited about the opportunity here on home ice and excited to play. It's been a couple of days off, so there should be not really any reason for us to not come out of the gates well.
Thanks, Jade. All right, there is Conor McDavid. As you heard him talk there, a lot of talk about maturity, and they're mature, and patience, and this and that, and winning with their B game, and that's something that we've been waiting for to see from the Oilers over the years, and it looks like it's finally starting to take shape a little bit, which is a good sign. And you would think after all the, let's call it heartbreak in playoffs past, that the lesson would be learned. And so far, it looks like they're showing that. So good stuff from the captain as his team prepares for Game 5, an opportunity to eliminate the Los Angeles Kings. Still 2-2 in Dallas, 5 minutes remaining in the second period. Aiden Hill between the pipes for the Vegas Golden Knights. All right, our game analyst, the one and only Matt Cassian, ready to rock and or roll. Let's get Cass on here. There he is. Hello, Cass. What's going on, my friend?
Hello.
Hello.
Not a whole lot going on. I guess it was, tax season wrapped up, so that's something. Dealing with all that fun stuff. But no, we're good. We are good. We're in good shape. Ready to watch a little more hockey. Was perusing the Dallas Vegas game, and then hopped on here. And Tommy, I think the Oilers can do it tonight. I think they can do it.
They could too.
So I'm excited.
I think so too. Hey, give us a little bit of a scoop on how the weekend went at the Alzheimer's face-off.
Oh, it was good. It was great. Got drafted. Dusty lied to me, which I'm still not over. But the next team picked me, which was great. I worked with played with some of my coworkers and people that I interact with on a fairly regular basis from just my industry, and it was a lot of fun. We had a ton of fun. We definitely won in fun. Won 2 out of the 3, which was big.
Nice.
And yeah, it was a good time. We had a great time. A couple of later nights, but nothing too crazy. And I'm good. There was Tommy have been no way, because a couple of guys asked, like, hey, are you going to go do the post game show? And I'm like, dude, I can barely talk right now. Like the end of the first night, my voice is always shot because you're just don't stop talking and interacting with people, which is great. But I was like, no, I gotta let Belzy and the others fill in here because I got nothing in the tank. But I am back and ready to go. So it was a great time, great fun. They raised a lot of money for Alzheimer's research in Alberta and the Northwest Territories. So it was a resounding success, I would say.
Absolutely, it was, and good on you for being a part of it yet again. I threw it out there. I'm like, oh, they raised over 100. It's like over $1 million.
Yeah, like 1.2 or 1.3 million, I think. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have another great one this weekend. On Friday, it is Hockey Helps the Homeless. Ron Lowe helps organize that one. Are you playing in that one, Cass? I'm assuming you are.
Yeah, back-to-back weekends for this guy. So,
baby,
and a couple later nights because of tax season. So right. Yeah, a lot of late nights for this guy, a couple weeks in a row. But that's okay.
That's all right. It is that time of year. Also, we will be live on location throughout the entire day on Friday at Terwilliger Rec Center for Hockey Helps the Homeless. Every show will be from Terwilliger, as Dusty and myself are playing, as well as you. I think Gager's in it, and Sean Bell as well. So big contingent of EST there, and we're going to be live on location at Terwilliger. Should be a great Friday, that's for sure.
It'll be good. And I don't know, we don't have any bets going on right now as to who gets drafted first. So it could be could be interesting for me and Bellsy and Gager.
Tomorrow night?
Yeah, tomorrow night. So we'll see. We will see.
We shall see indeed. All right, let's get into Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Cassian. Game Changers brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate Cast Numero Uno. Be bendy. So bendy. The whole bend but not break. They did a good job of this, I think, in game number 4, where it wasn't a perfect game. They weren't great. They have said they weren't great. They know they weren't great. But, they bend but didn't break. And if we go back to the game that they have lost so far in this series, it was bend and then break. Where it just kind of, we talked a heck of a lot before that game and even after the game about compounding errors and, not letting one mistake turn into 2 mistakes, turn into 3 mistakes, turn into it's in the back of your net. And they did a good job of that the other day where in game number 4, again, it wasn't perfect. They made some mistakes, but they just didn't let those mistakes snowball and get away from them. And when they did a little bit, Stuart Skinner stood in there and stood strong. And against an LA team that really threw everything they had at Edmonton, they're going to try to throw everything at you again today, making sure you maintain that bend but not break attitude. And just not trying to fix what other people do. That's when guys get into problems on the ice. When you're like, oh, that guy made a mistake, I got to fix this. But just in reacting, taking care of what you're supposed to do, letting players recover, giving them a chance to work their way out of issues when they have them on the ice and out of problems when they create them on the ice, I think is very, very important for tonight. Quick update, out-of-town score, the only other game on the schedule. Dallas has taken a 3-2 lead, 3.5 minutes left in the second period. Jason Robertson looks like he buried that one to give the Stars a lead. Look at that. That's going to be a hell of a series, Cass.
As we thought it was going in. Yeah. I mean, I figured that one was going 7. And I think I had Dallas in 7.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think I had Dallas in 7, but it's gonna be a tough one for both teams. Like that's a battle. 2 very good teams.
Yeah, and Nashville, Vancouver goes Friday in Nashville after they staved off elimination yesterday. A gritty 2-1 win at Rogers Arena. Okay, one more note on Be Bendy. LA was very physically assertive the other night, and the Oilers are the bigger team, let's call them. Does Edmonton need to assert themselves physically tonight, or can they be on the receiving end of that?
I mean, Tommy, they're up 3-1. So I think Edmonton has done a very good job of being physical in the players specifically that they have needed to. Not just like an overall, LA has been more physical. They've had some of the bigger hits, but look at how Edmonton in particular has just gone after guys like Drew Doughty, like where they are on them, and just every chance they get, they're finishing their hits. And it's not always like the big run them over, but just always getting bumped. I mean, you could show clips from every game of him having to pick himself off the off the ice, or of him feeling it after a shift. Like they have done a good job of that. I don't think Edmonton needs to all of a sudden, respond and do something crazy. I think they need to do what they've been doing, which is when the opportunity presents itself, they're going to take it, but not going out of their way, not going to be like, oh, I have to go run this guy over. Like they just very much have taken those opportunities when they're there and they've hit guys, and particularly again on Dowy where they're finishing those hits. But Tommy, I don't like, again, LA threw everything at you. They threw everything at you physically and you were fine. So I don't see the need to change up your style of player to be like, oh, well, they were hitting us, now we got to go hit them more. Like it's got to be just, let's just keep doing what we're doing because it's working.
Yeah. Just wondering, Cass. That's all. Just wondering. It is Game Changers.
Sorry, Tom. That was a stupid question. No, it wasn't a stupid question. It wasn't. It was
I know.
question.
I'm hurt. It
was a good question.
Game Changers brought to you as always by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. If you want to ask Cass a question, bounce something off of him, 780-218-9999. Or if you're watching via the nasty chat, he will reply to you in all caps, and that means he's yelling at you.
Yep.
Number 1 was B Bendy. Number 2, Cass, 5v5 NZ, aka Neutral Zone.
Neutral Zone. The Neutral Zone. Hey, 5-on-5. LA has been pretty good this series. Yep. Special teams they've got absolutely crushed. They haven't done anything on the power play, and they have struggled on the penalty kill. But 5-on-5, they've been pretty good. Done a good job of clogging up the neutral zone, slowing the Oilers down. And I think if we're looking at Edmonton's the first 4 games of the series, and we're saying, okay, where could they be better? Where could they improve? What could they do more of? I still think they're playing the neutral zone. It could be better. And when they have won hockey games, it's just been slightly better than when they lost game 2. In game 2, they tried to force everything, tried long passes. People were out of position to support. They turned pucks over frequently, and LA just kind of rammed it back down into Edmonton's end. Now, when they were able to skate through the neutral zone, even if they didn't score 5-on-5, way better opportunities to generate pressure, generate some scoring chances, draw penalties, which LA are really having a trouble killing off. So, to me, this game for the Edmonton Oilers, Tommy, the winning and losing of this hockey game comes down to the neutral zone and how well they play and how well they execute. If they execute well, I think they've got a really good chance at winning this game. If they execute poorly, I think we'll notice pretty quick, and we'll probably see that, hey, LA's got a really good shot tonight, and unless something changes, Edmonton's got their work cut out for them, because when they struggle in the neutral zone, everything else just kind of falls apart.
You know what's interesting is Dennis Bernstein, when he was on here prior to you, was talking about, the future of the Kings, and he said they need to get away from the 1-3-1. And then he even, before he mentioned that, because we were looking ahead if the Kings end up losing this series, whether it's tonight, game 6 or 7, whatever. But he also said that, even for tonight, maybe they need to get away from the 1-3-1. And you've said it all along, it's too hard to change mid-series.
Yeah.
Can they tweak anything? Or can they focus on more up-tempo? What could they do if they want to, or are they just stuck in this 1-3-1?
You're stuck in it. What, you're going to all of a sudden ask a team to play an aggressive 2-1-2?
Then they're going to get discombobulated and just ask for trouble.
Yeah, it's just you can't. For as much as to me, here's the thing about the 1-3-3, in my opinion. Even if you have a team that plays it really well, in the modern NHL where there's penalties and generally they're called no clutching and grabbing.
Yeah,
is that it's going to work decently well during the regular season, when teams don't want to fight through things and when it's hard to play against. I don't think it works as well in the playoffs, when teams are like, no, we're going to battle through anything. We're going to back check no matter what. We're going to try to do all of the right things and the right plays. The 1-3-1 is poised to take advantage of teams that make big mistakes, that try to force things too much. Players that just want points. That's where it works well against it. But against a team, even if they have players that maybe like those things, but they're playing, call it playoff hockey, where it's no, we're not going to try to throw that extra pass, and no, we're going to keep things simple. It just becomes less effective, which means you get less opportunity offensively. And if you're wanting to sit back in your 1-3-1, you're just not able to generate in the offensive zone as much. So it just, to me, it doesn't function that well from a modern NHL standpoint. Again, you see some teams try to do it, but there's a reason that most teams don't, Tom, and that's because it's really hard to do. and execute well and to have it function and work well in the playoffs. Now, when you can hook and hold and grab everybody, sure, Jacques Lemaire style, absolutely, but doesn't work anymore.
Ugh, Jacques Lemaire star. Boring. Boring. All right, it's Game Changers with Matt Cassian. Number 1 was B. Bendy. Number 2, 5v5 neutral zone. Number 3, Mr. Cassian, patience.
Well, Tom, the LA Kings are going to throw it all at you tonight. They are facing elimination. They are going to bring it. And I would, tendency isn't the right word, but I think it would be easy for the Edmonton Oilers to just kind of say, this series is done. We're up a couple games. Or it's easy for them to say that, hey, I'm going to want to be the guy and I'm just going to try to finish this right away. Like where they just, they don't stick to their process, which is something they've been so good at doing, where it's like they veer or stray from what has made them successful so far in this series,
right.
which for the most part is playing that patient hockey game because they just want to end it early, or they think LA is going to be done, or whatever it is. LA is going to be absolutely bringing it, and over and over and over again, not just this series, but this season against the LA Kings, when Edmonton has played patient. We call it, you use the word mature quite frequently. Like when they play a mature game, when they play a patient game, when they're not trying to force pucks through the middle, when they take what's given versus trying to create something out of nothing, the LA Kings just have trouble with the Edmonton Oilers. It's difficult for them to score goals. It's difficult for them to create. And for the Edmonton Oilers, Tommy, I think it just a patient game bodes well. Again, it has all this series. It will again tonight. If they can just keep their composure, not freak out, I think the Edmonton Oilers are fine, and I think they're shaking hands after the game tonight.
Displaced you, Connor, just texts in and says, finish them. We got another one that came in, says, just watch Cass's fight, beatdown of XLB. Laughed so hard when Cass threw him / let him fall face first into the ice. We talked about it a little bit, Cass, but there was, he took out your knee, right? He blew up your knee.
Yep, blew it out. So that was full MCL tear on that bad boy. So I couldn't. And then I didn't realize it until after the fight. Like I knew something, like it hurt. I knew something was wrong. Yeah. But then trying to skate to the penalty box, I'm like, yep, there's nothing there. Yeah, there is nothing there. So it's just if you've ever, I'm trying to think of what it would be equivalent of, like something. Yeah, it just feels like there's nothing there. Yeah,
yeah, it's like a rubber leg, basically.
Yeah, like it's like if you take a rubber band and you go like this and just like twist it back and forth a whole bunch of times. Like that's how it felt. Like your knee sliding. Like if you grabbed a rubber band and just went like that. That's how it feels.
I tore my ACL, and I know that I don't want to think about it, but yes, that's part of it. And you made swift work with Mr. XLB in that fight.
I was mad. We laughed about it. Now
I could tell. Last question for you, Cass. Do you expect another low-scoring tight game or a high-scoring open game tonight? That is the question of the night.
Ooh, I think it depends who scores first. Oh, I think it depends who scores first, because which I know is kind of fence sitting here, because I think if LA scores first, they're going to try to lock it down so much that it's a low-scoring game. If Edmonton scores first. And I know Dreisaitl's come out and he's been like, oh, they don't really change that much. They're facing elimination. They got to try to score. Right. They're going to open up a little bit, and I think that could mean that that there's a few more opportunities to be had.
Dave Riddick, is that the right call to go back to him?
They only let in one.
Yeah. He didn't see a lot of rubber, though.
No, didn't see a lot of rubber, but he only let in one. It's not like you had too much of an opportunity to see how he was playing, but he was solid in the regular season. So, he didn't really give you reason not to put him in, where Talbot has let in a lot of goals. Whether they were his fault or not, we could discuss all day, but he let in a lot of goals. And Rittich only let in one. So maybe you're thinking, okay, we liked the way we played last game for the most part. We thought we played a pretty good game. So let's roll it back.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we'll see what happens today with the Oilers. An opportunity to eliminate the LA Kings on Game Changers. Be bendy, 5v5, neutral zone, and patience. That's what Cass is looking for tonight. Great stuff, as always, on the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Game Changers segment of our show. Cass, we'll talk to you after the game.
Thanks, buddy. Make sure you enjoy that Dr. Pibb you're drinking.
I love Dr. Pibb. It's delicious. All right. See you later. There's Cass with Game Changers. Great stuff from him, as always. Of course, the Oil Stream pregame show brought to you by GCL Diesel. GCL specializes in giving your diesel engine's heart a second win. We test and remanufacture fuel injectors, pumps, and turbos for a wide range of applications, breathing new life into vital components. 3-2. The Stars lead the Golden Knights heading into the third period down in Dallas. That is the only other game on the schedule tonight. See what's going on in the nasty chat. I saw Vance Van Vandervan get in there earlier. There he is. The Oilers are going to be doing just like that mega smash hit Nickelback song, Shaking Hands. Okay, Vance Van Vandervan. What else? I like Cass's minimalist interview area. That's Jimbo with that one. Nice shift. Cass says, Box Pounder. Lots of positivity today. Lots of positivity. People eagerly anticipating what the Oilers might be able to do, and that is eliminate the LA Kings in Game 5. Here's Coach Mike chiming in. Coach Mike says, Oil put the boots to them tonight. 97 is going to have a night. Non-Oiler related. Pietrangelo is hot garbage. The NHL is a joke league. If you high stick another player and he bleeds, it's 4 minutes. But if you punch them in the face and he bleeds, it's 2 minutes for roughing. Pietrangelo on say again tonight. Coach Mike, as he's getting fired up watching the Stars and Golden Knights. All right, we're going to go back inside the Oilers locker room. You know what, Trev? Let's hear from Chris Noblock. Let's go to the coach.
I mean, critical, and in this series in particular, what would you say the ingredients are for your team to a good start, to try and at least guarantee you'll have a good start?
Intensity, focus, execution of details. You know, I think we don't want to be playing passive. We want to get at it, and I think the more we slow things down, it just doesn't work out for us. We want to be playing fast, intense, but being able to use our skill, and I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Cam's contribution. Just wanted to know, how confident you feel that you'll get what you need from your group tonight.
I think guys are very focused and ready to play tonight, and obviously we're playing a very good opponent, LA Kings, and they'll have a lot to say with our success. But I think the guys are very dialed in and ready to go.
Coach, you guys have obviously had a lot of success on the power play. I'm wondering how much of what's happening is kind of structured, planned, and how much of it is players ad-libbing?
I think you, as a coach, you cannot provide too much structure. They have to be making the reads and decisions on the ice. You can't draw up a play because if the opposition stick is in another lane or the body's 5 feet higher or lower than what they anticipate, that play won't work out. So you can give them the structure, some guidelines, but ultimately they have to go out there and execute. And I think they've done an excellent job on reading what is available for them. And you look at all the power play goals that we've had, they all look differently. But I think Glenn's done a great job of preparing the players on what to expect and trying to stay a step in front of them. The credit absolutely with the players making the plays.
You've had a big advantage, obviously, on special teams. The last game called. Is there anything that you saw in that game that maybe your team can do a little bit differently to, force the officials' hands to maybe call some more penalties, if you know what I'm saying?
To do that, to possess the puck more. If you're on the attack, if you're putting them in a vulnerable position that they have to reach in with their stick or defend in a difficult position, then you're in the opportunity to draw some more penalties. And last game, I don't think we were in that position. A lot of credit to LA. I think they defended us very well. But, for us to draw more power plays, we just have to make more plays with the puck and attack the net more. And more you do that, more opportunities to go on the power play.
Chris, we saw last night a couple of teams weren't able to close out series at home. I just wanted to maybe get your opinion on, what makes it so difficult to win that fourth game. They always say that fourth game is the toughest to win.
Well, I think, last night, so many of the series are they're very competitive. It's not like it's a favorite. It's ever an easy game. And for us, it's just coming to the rink, being prepared to put our best game forward, and hopefully that's enough to get the job done.
Chris, your team's 3-0 in the series when you score first this year, and 10-1 over the last 3 years playing the Kings. Do you notice a significant difference in your team or how the Kings play when you score first?
I don't know if it's so much of them changing their game because they're down, or just the fact that, in those games are how much more prepared we were to play. Our guys were going, and obviously it's much easier to play with a lead, and that's our goal tonight, to score that first goal, and hopefully we can score it early. But how we play the rest of the game, I don't know. We don't really fluctuate if we're down or chasing the game. So we just want to stay within our structure as much as possible.
So when you say it's easier to play the lead, is it just mentally? Because you're not as like, oh my God, we got to get the next goal. Is that the difference? How do you feel it's easier when you have the lead?
I think the other team just pressing a little bit more. I don't think they really stay their structure and say, oh, we're going to get out of our 1-3-1 or defensive zone, we're going to do something a little differently. I think it just forces the other team to maybe make a more aggressive pass. And what happens when that happens is, as long as we're in position, we intercept that pass, and then we can play with the puck, opposed to, if they're a little more patient, they protect it and work down low a little more, spend more time in the defensive zone for us. I think it's just, I think probably the only thing that changes a little bit is whether you're winning or losing, your puck decisions.
All right, there's Oilers head coach Chris Noblock getting set for Game 5. Oilers with a chance to knock off the Los Angeles Kings, up 3-1 in this Western Conference quarterfinal series of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Tom Gazzola live on location at Hudson's on Bourbon Street at West Edmonton Mall. Dusty's down here. Lieutenant Eric is here. Dean Millard is here. Rip City Step is here. Fergie just left. And Jay and Andrew are here. A lot of people are already here. It's filling up, and come on down. There's still plenty of room, and there's some GCs to dish out as well. The boys will be here having a good time all night long. So let's go into Jim Hiller now, Trev, and hear from the Kings head coach going into this one.
We'll have to wait and see.
Jim, there's going to be obviously a loud crowd tonight looking for a celebration. And the expectations are probably that they'll close this out. How much actually can you lean into that with your group?
I don't think that affects us too much. I'll go back to it. We thought we played our best game of the series last game. We know we have to bring that and a little bit more in a couple areas to give ourselves the best chance to win. And that would be whether we're playing tonight in Los Angeles or here in Edmonton. It's kind of irrelevant. It's really about that game that we have to play, and that's what we're ready to do, and that's our only focus.
Do you see something where, at least from an offensive standpoint, I know you obviously got 33 shots on goal, but did you see something in the video just from an offensive standpoint where you think you can generate, obviously, goals and whatnot?
I don't know if there's anything too specific we'll talk about right now. We had our looks. It's just a matter of, do you create more and give up more, or do you keep the balance where you're creating enough to win and not giving up too much? And we thought we did that for the last game for sure. So we'll just go ahead with the same plan, maybe tweak a couple things, but again, nothing that we'll discuss here right now.
David Riddick, he didn't have a lot of work, but he did make some big saves for you guys.
He did.
I guess just what did you like? What did you see from him, and what did you like?
Well, that's it. He didn't have a lot of work, but when he was counted upon, he made the save. With the exception of the power play goal, that was the one they got. But not easy to do, to come in from the bullpen like that. He's done that all year for us, and he gave us the game that we needed. We just needed to solve Skinner that night.
What have you seen out of your group in terms of starting games well? It's obviously the first goal important.
Yeah.
Getting your team that way.
Yeah, we've liked our starts, with the exception of Game 3, taking the penalty. I think that really set us on our heels a little bit. I know the Oilers didn't score on that particular power play, but we came out with the first 2 shifts of that game, I think pretty well like we have started each game, at least to the first time out, except we took the penalty. So our starts have been good. That's going to be very important tonight. I mean, to Eric's point, that will be an important part of it. The crowd will be excited and all those kinds of things. So the start, the first 6 minutes, get to the timeout, we'll have to make sure we're playing our best game during that time.
Jim, do you feel like with all the film you have now on your PK versus Edmonton's power play that you're getting closer to figuring out a way to stop them?
Well, I mean, lots of teams have had it goes through the season. You can say when you start the season, maybe the first time you see each other, somebody might throw something different at you, but everybody's had a long runway of 82 games to get ready. You've played against each other enough. You go back to last year's playoffs, we played against each other enough. So there are no secrets. It's just a matter of execution. And right now their execution is sharp. We got to give them credit. Their execution is sharp. We know they have a good power play generally, but they're executing. And it's our job to disrupt them and try to get them out of rhythm. Our power play right now is out of rhythm. They've done that job to us. We got to get that back at the same time flipping the script on the other side of it.
Jim, to follow up on that, do you feel like their scouting has been exceptional in this series? It seems like they're doing some things that are giving you guys problems that maybe you didn't expect.
No, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. Everybody's got a pretty good book. And, the teams do tweak and make some adjustments. Everybody does that a little bit, but nothing where you're caught off guard and it's like, wow, wouldn't have expected that. So really, everybody's well prepared. There's great coaching throughout the league. And now it's a matter of executing under pressure, because it's one thing to say do this and do that, and all of a sudden the game changes and there's subtle things and you have to make it happen under those circumstances. And on the special teams, they've done a better job of that than us so far.
Do you need someone to just step up here? You got a lot of good offensive players on your team that haven't delivered a lot of points in this series. Do you need someone to have game?
Yeah, we'd like that for sure. And it can be anyone. It can be anyone. But, obviously those guys are higher profile players. They get better opportunities. They're on the power play. But we felt we were close. We really did. We are close the last game to some of those players breaking out. And we're going at it with the attitude that that's going to happen tonight.
All right, there's Jim Hiller, head coach of the LA Kings. He likes what his team's doing. He liked what he saw from his group in Game 4. They lose 1-0, and more of the same, he's saying. But I think the Oilers want to turn the tide and kind of make it their game, dictate the pace. That did not happen in Game 4, but Edmonton still comes out on top. The Oilers are going to look at to harness the energy inside Rogers Place tonight. It's going to be bumping, but the toughest game to win is that fourth one in a playoff series, because the team that's on the ropes comes out super desperate. Let's get to this text from Sean, who says, I just want tonight's Oilers game to be so awesome that when I tune in tomorrow morning for the Nielsen show, it shows an empty table, no Dusty, and LTE, YTT doing the Newman. What, me? Worry? Shrug from Sean. I like that. LTE and Dusty gone, just YTT in there. Or is it Zach to come tomorrow? I'm assuming it's Zach.
Yeah,
to come
we got Zach in producing the show.
What, me? Worry? He doesn't even know any Seinfeld references. Too young.
Not gonna lie.
He wasn't even born when it ended.
Yeah, I never got into Seinfeld either, so
great show.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Jimbo via the Nasty Chat says, Will Ferrell crying himself to sleep tonight. I love him, but he deserves it. What else do we have here? Vinny Vertigo says, Hiller seems like a good coach. Too bad they're old and slow. And X-Ray J is enjoying a 6 o'clocker and sitting on the couch. Let's go Oilers, says X-Ray J. Good to hear from X-Ray J. Okay, I'm going to throw a couple stats out there, and then I'm going to hand off the rest of the show to YouTube. Trev will take it home as I'm going to make my way down to the arena for the game. A couple of quick things here. The Kings have overcome a 3-1 series deficit to win twice in franchise history. The first time that happened was in the 1989 division semifinals against Edmonton when Gretzky had 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points, led the charge against Edmonton. And the second time that they did it was 2014 first round against the San Jose Sharks. I think they were down 3-0 at one point in that series and clawed their way back against San Jose. And then Edmonton has an all-time record of 15-1 when leading 3-1 in a best-of-7 series. So the odds, historically, look good for the Oilers, YouTube, Trev. So there you have it, pal. Edmonton looking to close things out down at Rogers Place. I am headed there right now. And without further ado, I pass it off to you, YouTube Trev, who's fighting fit, healthy, and ready to rock. Take it home, my friend.
Will do. Awesome. Thank you for that, Tommy. Let's go, guys. Safe travels to Tommy on his way to Rogers Place, obviously. Let me just going to adjust the camera. How's it going, everybody? This is awesome. I love that they're giving me the ropes to have the last 20 minutes of the pregame show. It's awesome. Well, what's the vibes tonight, guys? Well, get in the nasty chat as always, or you can text 780-218-9999. I'm going to lay out the last 20 minutes of the show I guess I got for you guys, but who has surprised you the most? This is my question of the night. I'm super curious. I'd love to hear what you nasties are thinking. Who has surprised you the most so far in this series? It could be from the Oilers, could be from the Los Angeles Kings. I'm going to give my quick answer, then we're going to roll some audio, but if you're new to, obviously Edmonton Sports Talk, it's no surprise. I've been pretty hard on one player in particular the last quarter half of the season, Vinny Desharnais. Obviously when the trade deadline came, the Oilers got Troy Stecher, and I thought that was the guy that should be in. In my opinion, he's a more skilled player. I think on most nights you want the most skilled lineup, but it's positional needs, right? Vinny Desharnais is that kind of that big guy, that big body presence, the physical presence that they like, and I will say. And, I am wrong. It's okay to admit that you're wrong. But, man, Vinny Desharnais, he shut up all the haters, including myself. I can't nitpick at his game whatsoever. He's looked awesome. We heard from Matias Eholm. He said it. He's probably been one of, if not the best defenseman, and that's Vinny Desharnais, the Oilers' best defenseman, saying that. So he's been absolutely solid. Jimbo in the nasty chat, Vinny has been solid, absolutely. Duck Dad, finally Trev showing the respects to Vinny D. Yeah, you know what, I got to give it to him. He's been awesome. I was about to say we were lacking YTT. Let's go. So other surprises: the Wolf in Dylan Holloway. He's been awesome in this series as well. Obviously the two goal outing that he had in Game 2 there. So it's awesome. I think that's going to continue. They're gonna need Vinny to keep this going. It's such he's become such a reliable player for Chris Noblock. The fact that it was Matias Eholm and Vinny Desharnais. Those were the defensemen that in the last minute of the last game when it was 1-0. Those were the two that were out. So I've been very impressed with him. And as always, guys, chime in the nasty chat. Who has surprised you the most? Which player? There's lots to pick from, but for me, it's got to be Vinny Desharnais, number 73 for your Edmonton Oilers. Let's quickly take a look at the text line, everyone. Oh, this is a nice shout out from Southern Alberta. Looks like 403 coming in on the text line. Everyone sub to Above Average as well as EST on YouTube. Yes, if you don't know, Above Average is my channel. That's how the guys kind of got in contact with me. I do hockey content, Oilers content, so I do in-depth videos. Pretty solid videos. I take a lot of time to edit those, so yeah, definitely check out Above Average. It's my channel. If you want to learn something, you definitely can. Go check it out. So we got Kenworth Kelly. That's a little bit of a longer one, and he finishes with "Go Oilers" a nice haircut to Tom Gazzola. Yeah, he's what a dapper gentleman Tom Gazzola is, hey? Looks good. He just got it today, actually. We'll get some more text coming in, but that's how I got to start the show. Let's go into the locker room. Who haven't we heard from? Yeah, you know what? He hasn't scored yet in the series, and I'm not expecting him to score, but he's been solid all season long. He is the Oilers' best defenseman. Number 14, the Viking, Matias Eholm. Here he is.
You stayed alive last night, and obviously those series get prolonged. How important is it, do you feel, to just, if you can, get this over with, get more rest, don't give LA life, all that kind of stuff?
Obviously that's our main goal in here is to finish it tonight and win a game. We know they're going to do everything in their power not to have that happen, so it's going to be a good match, and looking forward to it.
When you look at the last game, minus 20 in shot differential, do you focus on that you didn't allow any goals, or do you look more like, okay, we got to spend more time in their end?
I think I also look at what kind of shots were they. I thought we did a great job limiting what we call grade A's, right? I thought they had a lot of shots from the perimeter, and I didn't feel like there's some games when you play and you feel like you're overwhelmed and they're just all over you. But I still think in that game we played a good defensive game, absolutely, and Stewart played great. But I also thought we did a really good job of limiting their chances that was really high danger. At the same time, obviously, we want to play more offense and hold on more to the puck, but there's going to be games like that, and I'm not afraid to play that style of game.
Matias, the first goal's obviously been important, but when you got a team that's cornered like this, if you can get the first one on them, is it even more important in a game like tonight?
I think that's obviously something that I've played out that way throughout the series. When you score the first goal, you usually win the game. So it is an important one to get. It's not the end of the day if you don't, but they tend to play obviously a little bit more passive. So it's a really good thing if you can get the first one. Obviously, that makes them maybe come out of their comfort zone a little bit, and it's plays in our advantage. So you always always want to play with the lead, but if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think this team has shown that we can climb back from behind too. So do I want to get out ahead tonight? Yeah, absolutely.
You probably won't know an answer for this, but what is the formula for making sure that you get off to a good start? What do you on the nights where it's happened, what's the difference, you think?
I think it just comes down to a mentality of we're going to play a simple game. I really do, and skating has been a big part too. When we move our legs and we play a simple game, it tends to work in our favor. So it's the little things. It's not anything fancy. We're not going to drop any special plays to make sure we open up the game well. It's more about the hard work mentality that we need to bring from the start.
How much have special teams played a factor in this series?
A lot, I think. I think that's something that can be difference in these games, and usually it is when the playoffs are so tight. It's if you can get one goal on the power play, or if you can get an extra kill on the penalty kill, it's huge. So in that regard, I think we've done a good job so far, but we know that they're a dynamic group over there. So we got to be ready for a challenge tonight again.
Did you watch any hockey last night?
I watched a little bit, yeah.
Are you a guy that still watches your old team play?
Every once in a while.
I guess what I'm getting at is there's a couple of desperate down 3-1 teams that won last night, and they played like they were desperate. Do you see a difference as a player when you're watching the game, not playing it? You see a difference between the team that's down and the team that's up?
No, not really, to be honest. I kind of look at the game, but I did watch a little bit of that game. I mean, I've got kids that got to go to bed and all that, so I can't just sit and bench watch it. But I watched a little bit of it, and I thought that, especially in that third period, I thought they earned that win, and I think that's something that we can also learn from in here, knowing that tonight's going to be a really hard match for us. It's always that fourth one is the hardest one to get. So. And now, like you look at Nashville, they got all the momentum now. They got all the life in the world, right? Going home and going to have probably a really buzzing crowd coming back. So it's about we're trying to focus on us here, but at the same time, you can look in those games and maybe see what kind of teams we're going to face tonight.
Got myself muted. First time I've ever done that, actually. You are tuned to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game show. This is the pre-game show. If you are new to the channel, thanks for stopping by, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Guys, I'm looking at it right now. We're at 51 likes. We can do better. It goes a long way. It actually does. So let's see if we can get this to 100 likes by the end of the show. That would be awesome. But that was Matias Eholm, number 14 of the Edmonton Oilers. You hear him talk about special teams, and it's interesting. I kind of want to rattle this off. It's impressive. The Oilers special teams. Yeah, it's been incredible to watch. Obviously, it's 5 games in. The numbers will get a little diluted as the postseason goes on. But you hear, and I kind of heard this from snagging it from Spittin' Chicklets, but Ryan Whitney, he was talking about it. If you're looking at, like, you want to go for 100, that's like the ideal goal. And what I mean by that is if your power play is like 20-25% and your penalty kill is around 80%, it's 100, 105. Like that's really respectable in today's NHL. And anything above that, 110, if you're clicking at a 110 rate with special teams, that's extremely impressive. So I know it's 5 games into this postseason, but the Oilers right now, their special teams is clicking at a 153.3%. So it's insanely high. Like that's really impressive, the numbers that they've been able to do. And we kind of talked about it, coming into the postseason, like had they been, holding back a little bit, and a lot of people were speculating maybe they were, and it's obvious, like I think they definitely were. And this team is not they didn't rely nearly as much on their power play as much as they did last season. And I mean, they come into the playoffs, yeah, their 5-on-5 has been great, but all of a sudden their power play is just about as what it was last season when it was, it set an NHL record. So it's super impressive. It really is. So they look to continue that, and they're, what would lead to that, honestly, if the Oilers can start strong, like if the first 5 minutes dictate, I really think it'll dictate the game for the Oilers. If they get up 1-0, the Los Angeles Kings, they're going to be chasing, right? And that's going to lead to, more opportunities. They're going to be, given second chances and questioning their plays a lot more. That could lead to more special team opportunities for the Oilers. So I really think, like, the key to the game for the Oilers is to start strong. The first 5 minutes, set the pace. You have to set the pace. And I certainly think that's going to be the case. You talk about Conor McDavid and the big players, they really show up. And I think that's the difference from, this year's team compared to last year's team. A win tonight separates them from last year's team. I think, last year's team, they make it interesting, but I really think you look at Colorado, what they were able to do last night. They're like, hey, we need this win. We go on. We can get those, a few days to rest. If the Oilers do that tonight, like that'll be huge for the team going forward, right? Like it really is such a beneficial factor if the Oilers get those needed days of rest. So it will separate this year's team from last year's. If the Oilers can get it done in 5, obviously they like to make it interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but you're going to need, aside from game 2 when Dylan Holloway, the depth scoring, you're going to need Connor McDavid, obviously, Leon Draisaitl. I think they're going to be on the score sheet again tonight, but players like Corey Perry, who you haven't really seen do a heck of a whole lot. Like he hasn't really hindered the Oilers play by any means, but he hasn't provided much offensively. And, you get down low with Corey Perry. I was watching the game with my buddy about a week back, and just watch Corey Perry. Like he can... I've never seen anyone more comfortable behind the net, and it's super impressive to watch. Like he's just so calm and composed behind there. So looking for a player like him tonight. Also, Ryan McLeod, he hasn't really provided anything offensively as well. So you're looking at Warren Foegele. You're looking at a lot of players that need to step up tonight, and I certainly think that's going to be the case. They're 1 goal last game. It's going to be a bumping, rocking crowd. I cannot wait to see the energy. The Oilers fans, they show up. It's going to be super cool to see. So just some quick thoughts on tonight's game that I just wanted to share to you guys. Let's take a look at the nasty chat. Box Pounder YTT gets better every minute he's on the air. Well job. Wow, that's really cool hearing that from Box Pounder. Obviously one of just so many loyal nasties that we have. VR Montenegro, he's plugging my channel. That's awesome. Are you off the night shift? No, I'm working tonight, Joel. Yeah. Everyone, it seems to be in a good mood in the nasty chat. So this is pretty cool. I'm loving doing this. Gotta generate takeaways and make them count from T. Willison. Absolutely. Corey, I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'll just go by Corey. Hoping Perry has a real good game when he is on. He is a factor. Absolutely. Foegele needs to step up for sure from simple_101. So some good thoughts on the nasty chat. You can always chime in on there or to our text line, 780-218-99. I love saying that. 218-9999. Let's see. What do we have here? Let's see. We got Chris Attaway. Sometimes the regular season doesn't bleed over to the playoffs, and I was surprised that Hyman has found even another level to stellar game. Can't stop this guy. He's got the magician's secret. Absolutely. One of the best stories in this season. Absolutely. Like Zach Hyman, he's going to continue to chug along at this rate. It's been fun to watch. I'm loving it. I'm loving every second of it. And how can you not if you're an Oilers fan? Love a YTT pregame portion. Well job, buddy. Who is going to be the unsung hero tonight? That is a good question. I like to think that, obviously McDavid, I think he's going to show up. We really could see one of the best cam. I could be calling it now, but I think you're going to see God level Conor McDavid tonight. He's going to be supernova. I can't wait to watch what he does. He's going to take his game to the next step. I guarantee you. That's a Charles Barkley guarantee right there. So aside from the big name guys, maybe does a Matias Eholm get on the board? Someone I could see a defenseman maybe chiming in offensively with a goal. But Warren Fogle, Ryan McLeod, Corey Perry. If I were to pick one, I'm going to go with Corey Perry. It's he's been there, he's done that. So I'll go with Corey Perry tonight. He's an absolute stud. So only time will tell. But who do you think will be the unsung hero? Feel free to chime in as always. We got another one here. YTT. Do you think Nashville is going to extend the series to 7, or does Vancouver get it done next game? Honestly, from watching the Canucks, it's lucky that the Canucks have been able to get these wins. Personally, I think Nashville's brought it to them, and a lot of people are saying, my argument was Vancouver was not going to be that good of a postseason playoff team because they haven't really faced any adversity. And when I did a video of this on my channel, a lot of people are like, you don't need adversity or whatever. This team's been doing great all season long. That's going to continue in the playoffs. But it's a total different beast. You look at Winnipeg Jets that just absolutely dummied the Colorado Avalanche in the regular season, and they're out in 5. So it's a totally different game. I do think that the Nashville, they certainly can force a Game 7. And you look at the likes of Quinn Hughes, he looks super banged up. He's not playing his best hockey, that's for sure. But speaking of not playing his best hockey, I mean, it's got to be Elias Pettersson. I don't know if you guys caught the game, but after the first goal in game, Game 4, I think, Elias Pettersson got caught up in the Nashville Predators goal celebration. Absolutely got pushed. He fell to the floor, or fell to the ice, and he got up. He's pretty well in the middle of the celebration. So that's got to be a tough look, and that's not helping your confidence at all. I know if that was me, I'd be pretty embarrassed. And you see, as soon as he went to the bench, Rick Tocchet was giving him a little, some confidence. Yeah, it's okay, but that happens. It doesn't really happen though. I think Nashville absolutely can. They could very well take the series. I honestly God believe that. They do have JT Miller though. He's kind of a dog, and he's kind of the only saving factor I think for Vancouver at this point. Okay, let's see. I think that's all we got for text right now. Joel, Oilers in Tampa. Yeah, that was my prediction. I thought Tampa was going to be Florida, and I was clearly wrong. So let's head back into the locker room. We could hear from, you know what? I want to hear from, let's go to the other side. Let's hear from Los Angeles Kings. We just heard from Matias Eholm, the Oilers defenseman. Let's go to another defenseman, number 8 of the Los Angeles Kings, Drew Doughty. Here he is.
Watch on off nights, but a few teams last night in a similar position kind of fight their way back and stay in it. Just give me a thought on watching that and your chance to do the same.
I watched a little bit of it, some good games, and it's playoffs. No one's going to give up. Any team at any moment ain't going to give up, and we're going to try to, obviously come back and win the game and come back and win the series, and that's our entire objective tonight is win a hockey game and go back to LA.
First goal has been critical in this series, obviously, Drew. What are the ingredients to kind of make sure you get a good start to give yourself the best chance?
Good start doesn't always mean getting the first goal, unfortunately. I thought we had a better start last game. They just happened to get the first goal. Those things are going to happen, but first goal is always important. You want to get off on the right foot. For us here in this building, getting the first goal might take the crowd a little bit out of it, things like that. So, first goal is always important.
What are you going to do about the power play? You guys been struggling with defending it.
What?
What are you going to do about their power play?
Their
or
power
PK
play?
struggle?
I mean, we're aware of all the things they do. They just have some really good players that'll, not go off on their own page, but come up with something different in the middle of the power play. And, it's hard to adjust to those things. We just got to be smarter, be in shooting lanes, and then rely on, the goalies to make simpler saves. I think a lot of the power play goals they've scored, their goalies have had no chance on them, to be honest. So we need to take away those passing lanes, those backdoor tap-ins, and let the goalie make the save.
You've been on both sides of this game over your career. The one team's absolutely desperate, playing for their lives. The other team's trying to manufacture that same level of desperation. Can you tell us, having been on both sides, what's the difference?
Well, we're fighting for our lives, essentially, over here, LA. Edmonton has a decently comfortable lead at 3-1, and they're playing at home tonight. So I'm not expecting them to lay down by any means. They're going to come out hard. They're going to play desperate. But when you're fighting for your life, usually that team's going to be more desperate. It's just life.
The scouting in this series, it seems like they've done a really good job scouting you guys. They seem to almost be anticipating everything that you guys do. Does it feel that way to you guys?
I mean, no, not really. Maybe in 1-3, 1-4 check sense, it seems like they got a few things that they're throwing at us that we've seen before. But when they change them up routinely, it's tough to kind of feel what's going to happen. But our coaches are doing the same thing. We're studying them, and as a team, we're studying them, so we're prepared for everything they're doing and what they might change and whatnot. It's part of the battle is preparing for the other team, and both teams are doing a good job, I think.
The way you guys played the other night, Drew, you guys dominated them. You didn't get the win, but you kind of build on that and say, okay, we play that way again. Should be able to take this series back.
We played a fantastic game last game. We just couldn't get any pucks by Skinner, and that's our objective tonight, is to play the same exact game, but obviously get some goals. We saw when we play our best like that what we can do and how we can kind of manage the game, and now that we've seen that, I think that's a good thing for us. Even though we lost, we see if we do the right things and play that way that we can have probably a way better outcome. So we'll look to do that again.
You've always been a really good describer of what it's like to play against McDavid all these years. Every time you come to town, you have something interesting to say. Now that you've watched him become surrounded by more and more good players, there was a time when he wasn't. Now he is. How does that change playing him? He's got a better team around him.
I mean,
Interesting audio cut out there, so ended that interview a little early. But yeah, guys, that's pretty well it. That was Drew Doughty, obviously, for the Los Angeles King. Him talking about tonight's game. It's interesting to hear his thoughts about the Oilers' power play. He's like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, we know the scouting report, obviously, but it's just the toughest thing in the world when you've got some of the best players in the world lining up against you with the odd man. So, yeah, Drew Doughty. That was Drew Doughty from the Los Angeles Kings. He looks, him and his team look to get a W tonight, but the Oilers obviously the Kings are on the brink of elimination. Can they get it done? Time will only tell. Let's take a quick look at the out-of-town scores. Just looking right now, it is 3-2 for the Dallas Stars, which is something you kind of love to see. Pietrangelo obviously getting a little dirty in this game. I seen in the nasty chat, and I watched that play. He just kind of sucker punched Tyler Seguin right in the face, and it was a 2-minute minor. So kind of interesting there. But yeah, the Stars are looking to take the series lead in this one, 3-2. They can get it done with 3 minutes left. I certainly would love to see it because the Kings the Golden Knights, well, obviously, if you don't know, now you know. But yeah, guys, that pretty well wraps up the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. I want to thank everyone who tuned in. You guys are just absolute beauties. This is awesome. It's so nice to be able to do this, and it's pretty cool. I never thought I'd be able to do this. So obviously, I'm still getting better. I'm a work in progress, and bear with me here. So I do really appreciate what Box Pounder said because it goes a long way. I will continue to obviously make strides, and I'm learning from like the best people in the world, honest to God, from Dusty LT, Maddie, Tom Gazzola. They're all so professional, and yeah, Zach and I are very fortunate to be in this position, learning from the best. But guys, that pretty well wraps up the pregame show tonight. Let me cue the music. There it is. There it is. Holy crap. Can the Oilers get it done tonight? They certainly will try. It's Oilers. It's the Los Angeles Kings. Conor McDavid, Anze Kopitar. They're going to have to come out strong. Watch out for Trevor Moores, the Quinn Byfields, Victor Arvidssons, and the Kevin Fialas. All players who have been kind of held off the score sheet. I think those guys are going to be absolutely giving it, and the Oilers are certainly going to have to match the intensity of the Los Angeles Kings tonight. But from Matt Cassian, from Dennis Bernstein, obviously, Tom Gazzola, I am. Hey, YouTube, Trev. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really, really appreciate this. We will be talking. It's either going to be a good mood or a not so good mood in T-minus 4 hours. We will see you then. Take her easy, guys. Have a great, enjoy the game, and talk to you later.